Hi everybody, this is Joël Dicker and I'm very happy to say hello to my readers in Ukraine and to answer a few questions about my work and my books. So question one, what is writing to me? Writing is a way to live different lives. We have our daily life, of course, and within this life, when we are on the bus or on the train or waiting at home or waiting for someone, wherever we are, we have this extraordinary opportunity to open a book and to switch from our life, from being bored, for instance, or waiting on the train or on the bus, and being able to use this moment to do something very powerful, which is to live a different life, the life of the books, the life of the character. And so for me, writing and reading is a way to live a stronger life.
Number two, imagine you're a salesperson in a bookstore. What would you say to a customer to persuade him to take a book by Joël Dicker?
I will tell him, you will take the power, because I strongly believe that in a book, who really has the power? It's not the author of the book, it's the reader, because the reader will decide and will create the character, the settings, the action, and the author can write 10 pages about how does the character look. If the reader decides that he looks differently, the reader will win. So reading, and one of my book, I think, will give you this opportunity of becoming a creator.
Number three, Harry Kweberta's muse, Nola Callaghan, and who or what inspires Joël Dicker to write?
I think it's a feeling. It's not coming from a person like in Harry Kwebert. It's really coming from a feeling and something very strong, that you feel that you want to tell a story, that you feel you want to live a stronger life, as I was telling before. It's the same feeling when I write that the feeling when I take a book that I want to read. It's a feeling I'm taking a book, I want to read this book because I know something will happen, something very strong will happen in my mind, of course. And it's the same when I write. It's this feeling that is very, very appealing for me.
Number four, how do you compose the plot of a novel? Do you know the whole story before writing and only make corrections of the process in your work? Or is it also a secret for you who the criminal is, until the novel tells you itself? Did it happen that at the beginning of the writing the book you thought as this character would be the killer and then completely change everything?
So how do I work? I work and I create my plot without a plan. So I work the plot, I write the plot as I'm writing the book. I have no idea before, I don't have a plan that I follow, and I have no idea at all of what will happen in the story. I just write, I just let the ideas come to me, write my stories, and of course sometimes you realize that what you did was not good enough or was not the good path to tell the story, and you have to come back to delete some pages, you have to change the characters, sometimes you even change who is the murderer, for instance. It happened to me too. But that's what I like about it. It's the fact that I don't know and that I can be surprised by myself at any moment of the book.
Number five, how often do you invest personal emotions and feelings in your characters, and can your spontaneous emotions suddenly change the plot of the work in a way that you did not plan?
I obviously have some feelings that I instill to the characters, because for me, when I create a character, I will make this character face some choice, some moments of the action, and at that moment, I will project for him what I think would be good. So it's of course something from myself. So part of the character is coming directly from me, but also part of this character for me is taking the liberty of creating someone that is not me, that is not someone I know, something completely new. And that's what I really like. It's being able to create something that is not my life, it's another life. That's why it's built with stuff from my mind and my feelings and my experience, but it's not directly injected in the book. You will not be able to see where it comes from. It's really between the lines.
Number six, where do you get ideas for creating new characters? How difficult is it to find prototypes of the main characters? How do you choose the location where the events in the book will take place?
Well, you need to let the idea comes to you. You need to let the pleasure of the writing installed itself in your brain. And so I don't really ask myself those questions. I'm not like, oh, I need to create a character now. I'm like, I want to create a story. I wanna tell a story. Who do I need to serve the story? I need a character. How does this character need to be? And I'm not like, but I already use the character like that. I just write what I want to write, and I just pick the place without a lot of question. Some of my books are set in the States because it gives me a distance that is very enjoyable for me to write my story in Geneva, in Switzerland, and set the story in the States. There's this distance between I, Joël, and I, the protagonist of the story. But at the same time, my very last book is set in Geneva, which is the city where I live in. So I think it's really about being able to create something that is out of your reality. Question 7. Yes, my book have a lot of stories intertwined, and because I like this, because I think that stories in general are made from other stories, and that when you tell the story of a character, you need to tell a bit of his story before. And so this is why I like it. I think like to create a present, we need to write a past. Question 8. Marcus is in the Baltimore Boys because I think in Harry Kweberta he was a very important character of the book. Of course, he's the protagonist of the book, but in the end, you don't really get to know him through Harry Kweberta. So I wanted to give him a personal story and a past by writing his origins and his roots with his cousins in the Baltimore Boys. Question 9. I don't know if Marcus is my favorite character. I like him, of course, and he's special to me because he was the protagonist of the book that get me a lot of readers and make me very happy about that. But I think I like all my characters the same. It's like your children. You like them equally. And I think it's very important for a book. Why? Because if you like some characters less than the other, so maybe you should take those characters away from the story because maybe you felt something in writing about them. Question 10. All the characters have me in there. I'm obviously a part of each of my characters because I created them. So no one has less or no one has more of me. They all have a little part of me as I am their creator. Question 11. I never had a mentor like Harry Kweberta, and I wish I did, like a lot of people, but I never had one, and I really think that also we cannot really have such a mentor. What I mean is like, we all wish we would have someone in our lives that will take the responsibility of making a difficult decision for ourselves, so we don't take this responsibility. And I think in Harry Kweberta, Marcus would like Harry Kweberta to be able to take this decision for him. But in the end, it doesn't work this way. And in the end, Marcus needs to make his own decision. Question 12. I think all my characters and all the criminals in my books are daily people that we can live with, or our neighbor next door, or people we know, because it creates a feeling of proximity. I don't like criminals in a book that are crazy people that are not in touch with the reality because they just act the way they act for no reason. When you have someone that is really someone from any daily life, from any little town. So it creates something very different because there can be for the reader a projection with this character. And the reader can be in empathy with him. It's okay, I understand, now I know what happened to this guy. I understand why he did what he did. Question 13. Question 13. It's the forbidden love also. It's also all the question that we can have about the feelings that we have. And I know it's a very sensitive subject, but in my book, in Harry Quebert, Harry feels that he's not entitled to have these feelings, and he's struggling with these feelings. And so that's something that he's having a hard time with. And I think it's interesting not to tell about those forbidden relationship, but to show how people react. That's the interesting thing. Question 14. No, I do not communicate with police officer because I don't want to know about the reality of crime investigation, because I want it to remain fun for me, and fun is to be able to create, to invent something from scratch and not to tell what is the reality of the actual police officers. Question 15. I did not participate in the TV show, in the script, or in the creation. I spent a lot of time on the set because I was very curious to see how it was working, and I was very excited and curious to see my book to become alive and see the characters telling the story. But I did not participate because the director, Jean-Jacques Hano, whom I respect a lot, he's a very, very famous French director, and I wanted him to be and to feel free to do whatever he wanted. That was something very important for me. Question 16. Question 16, so it's all these characters, they're not based on my family at all, it's really creation. Again, what I like when I read books, and when I write books, what I like is to create places, settings, stories, character that does not exist at all. And that's for me the most important and the most fun thing about writing stories. It's being able to create. So neither Saul nor any of the characters in the Baltimore Boys or in any of my books are related or are written or based on people of my family or on people I know. Question 17. Question 17 is very interesting what you ask about the branding of being an author. And it's true that today, once you wrote your book and once it's released, you need to go and to talk about it, you need to travel a lot, you need to go meet the readers. So this takes a lot of my time. Actually now not a lot because of the coronavirus, which is on one hand, of course, something very devastating and very sad. But what I mean is like being also at home in Geneva and not able to travel at all. It's also for me very interesting to see how my writing will evolve, because it's true that promoting interviews, conference takes a lot of time. It's a couple of months every year. Question 18. As I studied law, I think I would have become a lawyer. Question 19. Question 19. So how does it work? How do I write stories, and how does my creative process work? Actually, I don't really know. It's not a tool. It's really it comes not a tool, because it's not something that it starts with a tool. It's really start with a feeling, the feeling of I want to write, I want to tell a story. I really want to tell a story now. That's very important for me. So that's how it started, I think. Question 20. I spent usually an entire day writing every day, unless I'm going to interview or a conference. Otherwise, it's 8 to 10 hours a day. Question 21. My enemy on working on books is reality. My enemy, for instance, is Google, because if you write a book and you create whatever you want and you say, oh, the 1st of August of this year was a very nice day, and then if you go and you want it to be like this for the creation, for the purpose of your story, and you go on Google and you check the weather, and you can go back for, I guess, 100 years, you will see that it's not accurate, that 1st of August actually was pouring, or I don't know. So my enemy as a fiction writer, my enemy is the reality. Question 22. I have some habits when I write. One of them is to run. I try every morning to go for a run very early. But then I also start to write as early as I can. After my run directly, take a shower, grab a bite, and try as soon as I can to write, because I feel like the very first hours of the day are the one where you are the most, as a writer, the most available for your book and for the ideas. Question 23. I don't know why I choose the detective gender. I think it's also not only detective, but many other things. I think that the detective part is only one of the parts of the story. Question 24. The recipe for a good book, it's hard to say there's a one recipe, but it's to be enjoying this book. It's to be every step as a writer being enjoying this book, because if you enjoy this book till the end, the readers will enjoy this book too. Question 25. My favorite writers, I would say Romain Gary, Albert Cohen, Philip Roth, Dostoevsky. I'm debating, but maybe Jonathan Franzen, also I like him very much. Maybe Gabriel Garcia Marquez, it's 6. Title of the book, Love in the Time of the Cholera, Gabriel Garcia Marquez. La Promesse de l'Aube, it's in French, Romain Gary. Belle du Seigneur, Albert Cohen. Les Pauvres Gens, The Poor People, Dostoevsky. The Human Stain, Philip Roth. The Corrections, Jonathan Franzen. Which of the, question 26, which of the characters I would like to have a coffee with, the literary characters? I don't know, that's a good question. Maybe a character from Roald Dahl, which is his author for kids. He was a British, he used to be, he was a very famous British author of kids books, but I think that his books suits everybody. Everybody can enjoy his stories. And I think that's one of his characters, so everything is so fantastic and so amazing. Roald Dahl, any of Roald Dahl character. 27. My first reader is my publisher. 28. I don't know Ukraine yet. I've never been to Ukraine, but I wish I can visit you very soon. And question 29. I unfortunately don't really know about Ukrainian literature. Shame on me, I apologize for that. But when I will come, I will make sure that I've read some Ukrainian books, Ukrainian authors. So please give me some tips. Question 13, how about feminism? Of course, I think it's completely crazy that in a world where we've been able to go on the moon and walk on the moon and even go on Mars, we are still having not equality between women and men, and that's completely crazy. I actually made women the protagonist of one of my books. It was The Disappearance of Stefani Meyler, where the cop Anna Kenner is the first lead of the book. Question 31, if I could relive event of any of my books, if the question is if I can relive the publishing and the launching of a book, I guess it would be maybe the very first one. The Last Day of My Fathers, because it was the very first book that got published and it was very special, of course. Question 32. All the covers have been very interesting to see, I have to say. But probably the one that has been the most used and so the most successful is the Hopper painting, Portrait of Orleans, that has been used for many publications in different countries around the world. Question 23. How do I relax? I read, I listen to music, I do some sport, I run, and I sleep. That's very relaxing to sleep. Question 34, do I have a pet? No, I do not have a pet. Question 35, who killed Laura Palmer? I actually don't remember. Oops, sorry about that.